What's going on, YouTube? I want to talk about the decline that I'm seeing in a lot of black frats and sororities. Now, I'm not gonna divulge information on whether or not I'm in a fraternity or not, but all I have to do is say this: I have friends and relatives in pretty much every org of the Divine Nine except for Iotas. I don't know of anybody, I don't have any friends or relatives who are Iotas, but as far as everybody else, I know. So stuff that's secret I can find out, simply because I have relationships with people on that level. So I am up on my Greek life game. And the problem in terms of the idea that there is this loss of identity and in terms of what we need to be doing is because the recruiting process and the whole pledge process or initiation process isn't based off of people who have proven that they can balance work, school, and extracurricular activities. Okay? Everything is done off of credit and vouching. So people are given credit for stuff they haven't earned, or people who are interested are pretty much getting vouched in by either a family member or a cousin or a relative, and they never really have to prove themselves. You talk to any cat, older cat, who's been in the game for a while, and he'll tell you about his process. Not the details in terms of how much wood did he take. Wood wasn't even a major part of the process. They'll talk about how they had to prove themselves and how they would be on for months. Not in terms of getting hazed every night. That was part of it, but not how we see it today. It's more so they actually had to prove to the brothers that they can put on events. So they were given many things to do that they really had to execute and carry out at a high level. Not fake pseudo half-ass assignments, write a paper, right, or bring me food late at night. They really had to put on events. And once the brothers in the chapter decided that they could balance work, school, and putting on events and, handling fraternity business, they would give them the option, or they would give them the invite to try to join the organization officially, right? And what I mean officially in terms of, the underground stuff as well as the official stuff, right? They would get that official invite. But in terms of how things are ran now, that process is not there. Literally, you go from being interested to, in a couple of weeks, getting officially invited. So they're saying, yeah, we're going to give you the official process and we're going to give you the underground process. So you never have to prove yourself. Isn't that crazy? You never have to prove yourself. You don't have to put on a single event. But you can still be invited to join a historic black organization. And that's mind-boggling. And then what further gets me upset is the people in the chapter will always get mad and always complain about the new cats coming in and not doing work. I don't care what organization you're a part of, right? I've heard Omegas, Kappas, you know people, right? And you get to know people beyond their letters, right? So you know people personally, and sometimes people will vent, right? Who else? Who is, think about it, who's better to vent than somebody not in your organization, right? You're not going to vent to somebody within your organization because you don't want it to, travel around. So I've had conversations with people about stuff going on within their own chapter, and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. But that's how it is. And they're always talking about how they're upset with certain people not doing work or people crossing and not being around. But when it's time to party, time to train, they know all the trains, right? They know all the trains, but they barely show up to chapter meetings. Go figure. And what upsets me is like, yo, you can't blame them. All they're doing is showing you what their true colors are. And that's the problem. You know, black organizations, Greek organizations are supposed to be for life. But for the most part, it runs its course after you graduate. You'll have certain people who stick around, but for the most part, it's dead and over with. And that's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to get better as you age. It's supposed to get better with the more knowledge you pick up. But for most people, the climax of their fraternity life is the couple of weeks after they cross, right? And when they have their probate, and it's all downhill after that. It's all downhill. And for me, you know, it's all based off of the fact that people aren't proving themselves. People don't know if they want it or not. It's easy to pledge nowadays. It's easy to get hazed. It's easy to go out there every night and get your ass kicked. It is. It's easy. The pain is temporary. But it's harder to put on an event. Right? It's harder to balance all the other factors of life and put on an event, put on a chapter, you know, get together, or conduct a seminar. It's harder to do all that, right? And there's no real glory in terms of the whole world knowing what you did. So for me, it's quite simple. If you want to build your fraternity back up, or your sorority, I don't care what it is, give people a trial period. You give people, let's say, 6 months, and you say, hey, we're going to watch you. We want to see you get involved, whether it's through a little brother, a little sister organization, or you make them join some other organization that's non-fraternal, and see what they do. Have them put on different programs, legit programs, not just, you know, what we would do, actual programs. See what they do, see how they perform, and see how they balance their grades and all the other stuff. And you do this for a while. People can fake it for a couple of weeks, but if you really want this, then you'll put in the time. And if you really want it, you'll show that you can incorporate it into your everyday life, right? These organizations don't need people who can temporarily do something. If you can't build it into who you are, if you can't build in handling frat stuff in terms of your modes of operation, it's not going to work for you, right? So if you're stressed out and you're struggling, it's not going to work, and that's all you have to do. So I don't feel like Greek life is dead, nor should it be, but I think people have to revamp their whole intake process in terms of how they recruit people, because the right people are always the ones that get turned away because they're looking for more, and they end up with the bullshit people who are just looking for a quick high, and once they cross, they're nowhere to be found. So anyways, tell me how you feel. Take it easy. God bless.